Hello. In my last lecture, I discussed about the effect of temperature on rates of chemical reactions. We have seen that temperature has a dramatic effect on the reaction rates. An empirical relation between the rate constant K and T was given by Arrhenius. We looked at the equation which is known as Arrhenius equation. He introduced the term activation energy, which helped us to understand the rates of various chemical reactions. Based on that and kinetic theory of gases, we also developed a theory which is called collision theory, which is useful in understanding simple reactions. In today's lecture, I'll recapitulate some of the limitations of collision theory which are necessary to understand how it differs from the other theory which we are going to take up today, that is the transition state theory. What are the assumptions we first look at? Then we discuss activated complex and the transition state, reaction profile, derivation of rate expression based on transition state theory, then we compare it with collision theory, and then we will conclude, because we will be completing the course on chemical kinetics with this lecture. Let us go through the limitations of collision theory rapidly. So, theory treats the reactant molecules as hard spheres. That means it will not have any internal structure. The theory assumes collisions in all directions are equally fruitful or feasible. It also makes no allowance for the interaction at larger distances, the distances that are larger than the collision diameter. The term P was introduced in order to account for the orientation effect during collision. All the attempts to relate P with the structure and properties of the reactant molecules have not been successful. In some cases, the experimental values of K are abnormally high and it is difficult to interpret them. Collision theory is also insufficient to explain the reversible reactions, and then it also fails to explain the reactions that are taking place on catalytic surfaces where the collision in gas phase is not of any consequence. However, collision theory leads to a definite prediction for the rates of some gas phase reactions. Let us now start with the other theory, that is the transition state theory. Collision theory from the outset is tied to the kinetic theory of gases, which means it is from the beginning out of the realm of thermodynamics, whereas transition state theory tries to apply principles of thermodynamics in explaining the rates of chemical reactions. We know that thermodynamics itself is concerned with equilibrium and therefore may not be able to give a complete treatment of reaction rates. However, with some additional hypothesis, the transition state theory makes an attempt to explain the rates of chemical reactions. The thermodynamic approaches to the problem of rates of reactions stem from the work of Van't Hoff, that was in 1884. According to Van't Hoff, the rates must get affected by temperature in a similar fashion how equilibrium constant gets affected. Apart from other drawbacks, there is one serious and fundamental weakness of our collision theory. It is not able to explain how the equilibrium constant, that is the ratio of the rates of forward and the reverse reactions. Equations for the rate constants of the forward and reverse reactions can be written as K1 is equal to Z1 exponential minus E1 by RT, and K minus 1 is equal to Z minus 1 exponential minus E minus 1 by RT. These are the symbols used for the rate constant, the pre-exponential factor, and energy of activation. T is the temperature. The ratio of rate constants gives the equilibrium constant, and we have the equation here for K, which is the ratio of rate constants forward and the reverse reaction. And the right hand side terms here indicate that there is no entropy term, which is present in the equation for equilibrium constant, which we have understood from thermodynamics. However, early efforts were made, that is by La Meir in 1933. He tried to remove the discrepancy by introducing an entropy term in the collision theory expression derived from kinetic theory of gases. And you can see here in the exponential term where E was there, he replaced it with delta G, that is the free energy term, which is further split into entropy term and the enthalpy term. Thereby, by introducing these two terms, that is standard entropy and standard enthalpy changes, these are the changes that are taking place while attaining the activated state. But the results are not that satisfactory when these were applied for real cases. But one outcome of this is, very important outcome, is that it paved the way for the development of transition state theory. Transition state theory is also called activated complex theory. It is a more sophisticated theory than collision theory, and in particular, it directs its attention on the processes that are likely to occur just prior to the reaction. Important contributions towards the development of TST, or the transition state theory, was made by Henry Eyring along with Evans and Polanyi. There are certain assumptions that are made in developing the transition state theory. The first assumption is that all chemical reactions proceed via the formation of an activated complex or the transition state, which is in thermodynamic equilibrium with the molecules of the reactant, even though the overall reaction is irreversible. What is activation energy? Activation energy has the same meaning as we have used in the earlier theory, that is collision theory, and also in Arrhenius equation, that it is the additional energy that the molecules must acquire in order to react and give the product molecules. Another departure from collision theory is contribution from vibrational and rotational energies towards activation, according to this theory, cannot be ignored. Activated complex must have one of its degrees of freedom, which will be quite unstable. This vibration is responsible for disrupting the complex into the products. This vibration will have a large enough amplitude to break up the complex. The frequency of such vibration will be very low, and the average energy will be of the order of kT. Another important idea in this theory is that bond breaking and bond making are not instantaneous processes, but occur continuously and simultaneously. This is quite in contrast to collision theory, which assumes that the collision will result in reaction or it will not result in reaction. That means it is an event. If collision is successful, reaction will take place. Otherwise, it is simply not successful. The contact time between the molecules that collide is taken as 0. Whereas in the case of transition state theory, collision leading to reaction is a continuous process where the bond breaking and bond making are taking place simultaneously. The idea of activated complex can be presented on a plot of energy, that is the potential energy of the system as ordinate versus the reaction coordinate. Here reaction coordinate stands for not just one internuclear distance that changes during the reaction. It includes several other factors. The reaction coordinate is a function of the relative position coordinates in space of all atoms participating in the reaction. Its value defines the progress of the reaction along the path of least potential energy at any moment, beginning with the reactant molecules and ending with the product molecules. The reaction coordinate is essentially a geometric concept, and it is quite distinct from the extent of reaction. It doesn't tell to what extent the reaction has progressed when we look at the plot. Here we can see the reaction profile. This is the potential energy minima, and you are familiar with this plot from the beginning. So, energy of the two stationary reactant molecules that are far apart from one another, that is why the energy is minimum, and then energy starts rising slowly. And why it starts rising? Because the molecules come into contact when they approach each other. Then the energy starts rising as the bonds start to bend, then they start breaking and energy starts rising, and ultimately energy reaches the maximum when the two molecules are in contact with each other and highly distorted. Further down the slope, energy starts to decrease as new bonds are formed. That means the stability is there, and slowly it reaches the minimum again when the product molecules start appearing. At the climax or at the maximum, it is the activated complex. You can see here we have shown A, B, C, which is formed from the molecule AB, which collides with the C to give the activated complex, which then further leads to the formation of the product A plus BC. Now, what is activated complex? Activated complex may be imagined as a loose cluster of atoms in which the bonds are to be broken are not fully broken and bonds to be formed are not fully formed. It is the most distorted state where the repulsion is maximum. That is why energy corresponding to the activated complex is near the climax of the potential energy curve. We have shown here that the reactant molecules form the activated complex. The bond lengths are too stretched here, and this activated complex is in equilibrium with the reactant molecules. Unlike in collision theory, the activated complex is supposed to have a definite composition and a loose structure. It can be pictured as a cluster of atoms that is poised to pass on to the products or to collapse back into the reactants from which it was formed. We can see it here. We have the reactant molecules which join together after the collision to give the activated complex. The activated complex has a definite existence that way. Because of this, it can pass on to the products or it can revert back to the reactant molecules. That is why we are showing it in the equilibrium sign. The concept of activated complex is applicable to the reactions in gas phase as well as in solutions, because it is possible that the activated complex may involve solvent molecules as well when it is formed, because if we carry out the reactions in solution, solvent is present always, which can be shown here. Apart from the reactant molecules, we also have solvent molecules in the vicinity, and when the activated complex is formed, solvent molecule may become part of the activated complex. An activated complex is not a reaction intermediate, that we must remember. It cannot be isolated and it cannot be studied like ordinary molecules. However, Ahmed Jevail proved the existence of activated complex by using femtosecond spectroscopy, and he was awarded Nobel Prize for this quality work. Now, there is always a confusion between the transition state and activated complex. This arises from the fact that the transition state theory is also called activated complex theory. Now, this figure tries to distinguish the two. Activated complex is the loose cluster of atoms formed by the collision of the reactant molecules by loosening and formation of bonds that exists in the region very close to the maximum in the curve, whereas transition state refers to the cluster of atoms that exists with the definite configuration exactly at the climax of the potential energy curve. With this background, let us look at how we can derive an expression for rate or rate constant using the transition state theory. We can consider the reaction between A and B, a bimolecular reaction, which leads to the formation of an activated complex, which can then lead to products, or it can revert back to the reactant molecules. Here the superscript refers to the transition state. If we consider A into square bracket like that B and C, which are the concentrations of A, B and C, that is the transition state at time t, we are considering the transition state like any other normal molecule in this case, then the rate of reaction is given by dx by dt is equal to K into square bracket A, that is the concentration of A, and B within square bracket, which refers to the concentration of B. We can as well write the rate of reaction as dx by dt is equal to nu into concentration of the activated complex. Here nu refers to the proportionality constant having the dimensions of frequency. Now, we can equate the two equations for rate constant there, so that we get nu into concentration of the activated complex is equal to K into concentration of reactant A into concentration of reactant B. Upon rearranging this equation, we get K equal to nu into the concentration ratio here, concentration of the product upon the concentration of the reactant, which gives us an equation where the equilibrium constant appears, that is nu into K, which refers to the equilibrium constant of the formation of the activated complex. Nu can be interpreted as the frequency with which the bond that is about to break during the reaction vibrates and then leads to dissociation. When the two products are formed, they fly apart, and we can imagine that they move in the opposite direction, each having obtained in the classical terms an average kinetic energy of translation that is given by RT by 2n, which is equal to KT, because R by n is equal to K, which is the Boltzmann constant. And we know from Planck's equation that delta E is equal to h nu, which can be equated to RT by N, where delta E is the bond dissociation energy. By rearranging the equation, we get the equation for nu, that is the proportionality constant that we used earlier, from which we get the equation for the rate constant K to be equal to RT by NH into the equilibrium constant, which can also be written in terms of the Boltzmann constant K here. The rate constant K is equal to KT upon H into equilibrium constant. The term that we have here, that is RT by NH, is the same for all the molecules irrespective of their chemical properties. So, we can apply thermodynamic principles to the equilibrium between the reactants and the activated complex, and in doing so, we get the equation delta G activated, and we get in the activate applying the thermodynamic principles to the equilibrium between the reactant molecules and the activated complex, we get the equation free energy of activation is equal to enthalpy of activation minus T into entropy of activation. We know from thermodynamics that this is equal to minus RT ln K. We can rewrite it to get ln K is equal to T delta S minus delta H divided by RT, where the terms K delta S and delta H refer to activation. From this we get the equation, that is equilibrium constant for the formation of the activated complex is equal to exponential delta S activation, that is entropy of activation divided by R, into exponential minus delta H, that is enthalpy of activation divided by RT. From this we can get the equation for the rate constant, that is K is equal to RT upon NH, which can also be written as KT upon H, exponential delta S activation divided by R into exponential minus delta H activation divided by RT. This is the expression for the rate constant of a reaction, which we get from the thermodynamics and transition state theory, and this equation is known as Eyring. A chemist who worked extensively on the chemical kinetics, somehow he missed the Nobel Prize. We can compare the two equations now. For the rate constant, we have two equations, one from collision theory and the other from transition state theory. The comparison of the two equations tells us that the major difference is in the entropy of activation term, and this particular term enables us to explain the deviations from collision theory, because during the reaction entropy changes, especially when the transition state is formed. There can be a change in entropy, either entropy may decrease or increase. Now, quite small changes in entropy produce large kinetic effects, and also it can be shown that energy of activation is the major factor in determining the rate of reaction. The entropy term in the equation is not easy to visualize, unlike the energy of activation. However, it plays a profound role in which the orientation of the molecule is involved. Its magnitude is sufficient in many cases to give rates of reaction which differ by a factor of several orders of magnitude. The entropy of activation term enables deviations from the collision theory to be interpreted in terms of entropy, that is, order disorder that changes in forming the transition state. Thus, if a reaction requires a specific orientation of the reactant molecules, the transition state is more ordered than the initial state. Entropy of activation in such a case is negative. Then the exponential term is less than unity. This situation can be visualized in the case of unimolecular reactions. When the two molecules collide to form the product, having two atoms together, the order in the transition state is higher. Such a situation we can visualize in unimolecular reactions. This means that the rate of reaction predicted by transition state theory will be less than that predicted by collision theory, which is in fact the case. Conversely, if the transition state is less ordered than the initial state, the entropy of activation will be positive. Thus, it is now possible to give some account of the widespread variation in rate from reaction to reaction in terms of two factors, namely the energy of activation and entropy of activation. So, we had observed initially that why some reactions are slow and why some reactions are fast. Now, we can try to explain that observation using transition state theory in terms of the two terms that we have here, the energy of activation and entropy of activation. Thus, if a reaction requires a specific orientation of the reactant molecules, the transition state is more ordered than the initial state. The entropy of activation term will be less than unity. The rate of reaction predicted by the TST will be less than that predicted by the collision theory, which is actually observed experimentally. This corresponds to the value of P less than unity. P is the term that we introduced in collision theory to account for the discrepancy in the observed results and the theoretically predicted results. Now, let us try to conclude our discussion on theory of reaction rates. What is the main purpose of developing the theory of reaction rates? The main purpose of developing theory of reaction rates is to interpret the rates of chemical reactions from the knowledge of molecular structure. Simple hard sphere collision theory is of limited use for this purpose because quantitative significance cannot be attached to the probability factor P. According to transition state theory, the problem of predicting rates of reaction actually boils down to the one of predicting the energy of activation and entropy of activation from theoretical considerations. Attempts have been made to do this task by combining the results of quantum and statistical mechanics, which has led to the development of modern theories of reaction kinetics. Let me summarize today's lecture. We started with limitations of collision theory, and then we looked at the assumptions of transition state theory, activated complex and transition state, reaction profile, derivation of rate expression for transition state theory, then the comparison with collision theory, and finally the conclusions about the theories of reaction rates. With this, we come to the end of our lectures on chemical kinetics. 6 lectures in all. We started with the definition of chemical kinetics. Why do we need to study chemical kinetics? It's the study of rates of chemical reactions, to tell you in one sentence. We studied the various types of expressing rates of chemical reactions, like initial rate, instantaneous rate, and the average rate. What are the factors affecting rates of chemical reactions? Nature of the reactant, concentration, temperature, and the catalyst. We discussed this at some length. How do we classify the chemical reactions? One way to do it in terms of order of reaction: zero order, first order, second order, and third order reactions, or in terms of molecularity: unimolecular reactions, bimolecular reactions, and termolecular reactions. Finally, we try to look at the experimental techniques that are used in studying chemical reactions and determining the rates of chemical reactions. Also, we looked at the methods of determining the order of reactions. And in the last two lectures, we concentrated on the study of effect of temperature, leading to the development of theories of reaction rates. We studied two theories: one, the collision theory based on kinetic theory of gases, and the second theory known as transition state theory, which is based on equilibrium thermodynamics.